Steph Curry is insane. 56 points on just 25 shots. That's unreal. Steph Curry was on another level last night, and the numbers back it up in every way. He shot 16 for 25 from the field and drilled 12 threes like it was nothing. This is only the third time in NBA history he's made 12 or more threes in a game, and he did it while taking fewer shots than almost anybody who's ever dropped 55 or more. The only players who've done it on fewer attempts, James Harden and Michael Jordan. That's it. That's the entire list. And now Curry joins them after an absolute clinic. That efficiency is just ridiculous. He wasn't just throwing up a bunch of shots hoping they'd fall. He was calculated, precise, and completely unstoppable. He tied Jamal Crawford for the most made backcourt shots in the play-by-play era, which is just another insane record to throw on his already legendary resume. But this isn't just a one-night thing. Curry's been lighting it up all February, averaging over 30 points per game, while also putting up more than 5 assists and knocking down over 5 threes a night. He's shooting 46% from the field, 38% from three, and 92% from the free throw line. That level of scoring efficiency from a guard at his age is something we've never seen before. And speaking of age, he just became the oldest guard in NBA history to average 30 or more points per game for an entire month. Think about that. No other guard has done this at this stage in their career. And it gets even crazier. He now has the most 50-point games by a player after turning 35 years old. Not LeBron James, not Kobe Bryant, not Michael Jordan. Steph Curry stands alone at the top. He's done it 3 times, while the next closest, LeBron, has only done it twice. The way he's defying time is just unreal. And he's not just scoring big, he's doing it in dominant stretches. He's officially the oldest player in NBA history to record multiple 20-point quarters in a season. At an age when most players are slowing down, Curry is still going on scoring barrages that leave defenses helpless. And when he gets in that kind of rhythm, there's nothing anyone can do about it. Defenses are throwing everything at him, but it just doesn't matter. He's still putting up absurd scoring numbers and making it look effortless. But the craziest part of all of this, the efficiency. This wasn't just some high-volume performance where he took a million shots to get there. Curry now has 5 games in his career where he's scored 50 or more points on at least 85% true shooting. Nobody else in NBA history has more than 2. That's just absurd. Scoring that much while barely missing is something that shouldn't even be possible. But he keeps doing it. And he's not just padding stats against weak competition either. He's dropping these numbers in big moments, including yet another 50-point game in Orlando. He's now one of only 2 players in NBA history to have multiple 50-point games there, and the other is Tracy McGrady. But here's the thing, McGrady actually played for the Magic. He was their franchise player for years. That was his home arena. He was supposed to have big games there. But Curry, he plays for the Warriors. He has no reason to be dropping multiple 50-point games in Orlando, and yet here he is, once again making history in a place that has nothing to do with him. That just goes to show how unreal this guy. At this point, nothing Curry does should surprise anyone, but he just keeps finding ways to shock people. Every time it looks like he might finally slow down, he goes out and drops another historic performance. And it's not just the scoring. His efficiency is so ridiculous that it almost doesn't seem real. Shooting over 60% from the field while taking 25 shots is already crazy, but knocking down 12 threes in the process? That's just unheard of. And the way he's doing it is just different. He's not overpowering guys with strength, he's not relying on getting to the free throw line, and he's definitely not just putting up empty stats on a bad team. He's dominating purely through skill, movement, and elite shot making. And that's what makes him so dangerous. Defenses know exactly what he wants to do, but they still can't stop him. He's running around screens, pulling up from deep, and hitting shots that no other player would even think about taking. And he's doing it all while barely breaking a sweat. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Curry. But let's go back to the numbers, because that's what really tells the story. 56 points on just 25 shots is one of the most efficient scoring performances in NBA history. Only 3 other players have ever scored 55 or more while taking 25 shots or less, and those guys are all-time greats. James Harden did it twice, once in 2019 and once in 2017. And Michael Jordan did it back in 1987. That's the type of company Curry is in right now. And when you consider how much of his scoring comes from beyond the arc, it makes his performance even crazier. Most guys who score 55 or more are doing it by attacking the rim, getting to the free throw line, and taking a ton of shots inside. But Curry, he's pulling up from 30 feet and drilling threes at an absurd rate. That's why this kind of performance is so rare. Nobody else is even capable of doing what he does. He's a one-of-one player. And last night, was just another example of why he's one of the most dangerous scorers in NBA history. And he's not just getting these numbers in meaningless games, he's doing it in the middle of a playoff race. In games that actually matter, he's carrying a huge scoring load while still playing efficient, winning basketball. That's what separates him from so many other high-volume scorers. It's one thing to drop 50 in a random game, but it's another to do it while keeping your team in the playoff hunt and leading them to wins. And this isn't even an outlier for him. He's been on fire all month, putting up numbers that most players could only dream of. Over 30 points per game, over 5 assists, over 5 threes per game, and shooting splits that are absolutely ridiculous. 46% from the field, 38% from 3, and 92% from the free throw line. That's not just great, that's all-time level efficiency. And he's doing it while being the #1 focus of every defense he faces. And the crazy part is, he's not even done. If this is what he's doing now, imagine what's coming next. He's breaking records left and right, proving that age is just a number and showing no signs of slowing down. 56 points, 12 threes, another historic night in a career full of them. At this point, Curry isn't just making history, he's rewriting the record books every time he steps on the court. But I think a lot of people are failing to realize how great Curry has been this season as a whole. Let's start with his scoring numbers. Steph Curry's scoring numbers this season have been absolutely ridiculous, and the advanced stats back it up in every possible way. He's putting up 24 points per game, which is more than 95% of players in the league. That alone is impressive, but when you look at how efficiently he's doing it, it gets even crazier. His effective field goal percentage is sitting at 56.8%, which is unreal for a high-volume scorer. That number takes into account the added value of three-pointers, so it gives a better picture of his shooting ability than just regular field goal percentage, and the fact that he's scoring more than 1.1 points per field goal attempt, that's just absurd. That means every time he puts up a shot, it's basically guaranteed to result in points at an elite level. And the way he's doing it is just different. He's knocking down 3.6 two-pointers per game, drilling 4.4 threes per game, and doing it all while taking 18 total shots a night. That level of efficiency is something that most players can only dream of. He's scoring more efficiently than 79% of players in the league, while taking more shots than almost all of them. That's what separates him from everyone else. He's not just putting up big numbers, he's doing it at a rate that's nearly impossible to match. And then there's his true shooting percent, which is just ridiculous. He's sitting at 60.8%, which means he's scoring at a level that very few players in NBA history have ever reached. True shooting percentage takes everything into account: field goals, three-pointers, and free throws. So it's the best way to measure a player's overall scoring efficiency. And for Curry to be putting up 24 points per game while shooting at that level, that's unheard of. He's getting 1.2 points per scoring attempt, which is just insane. That means every time he goes for a bucket, it's more than likely going in. He's taking 18 shots per game and getting 24 points out of it, which is more than what most high-volume scorers can say, and he's doing it all while barely getting to the free throw line. He's only taking 3.8 free throws per game, which means he's not relying on easy points at the stripe like so many other big scorers. He's getting his buckets through pure shot making, and that's what makes these numbers so special. Most guys who put up numbers like this are either attacking the rim nonstop, living at the free throw line, or taking an insane number of shots to get there. But Curry, he's doing it with pure efficiency. He's not forcing anything. He's not relying on whistles, and he's still putting up scoring numbers that rank among the best in the league. His combination of volume and efficiency is something that you just don't see, especially at this stage of his career. And when you compare these numbers to the rest of the league, it gets even crazier. His 24 points per game put him ahead of 95% of players, and he's doing it while shooting better than 71% of the league. His scoring output is higher than almost everybody, and yet he's doing it more efficiently than nearly everyone as well. That kind of balance is what makes him so special. He's not just a high-volume scorer, and he's not just an efficient shooter. He's both at the same time, which is something almost nobody else can say. And the craziest part, he's doing this on a team where every defense is locked in on him at all times. He's not getting easy looks. He's not getting wide open shots. Every bucket he gets is against a defense that's completely focused on stopping him. And yet, he's still putting up numbers that most players could never dream of. His effective field goal percentage of 56.8% is wild when you consider the degree of difficulty on his shots. He's not taking easy twos. He's not getting a ton of open catch and shoot looks. He's creating for himself, hitting contested threes, and still maintaining a level of efficiency that most players can't even reach when they're taking layups all game. And then there's the true shooting percentage, which is even more ridiculous, 60.8%. 58% is a number you usually see from guys who only take high percentage shots at the rim. But Curry is doing this while living on the perimeter, taking tough jumpers, and stretching the floor in ways that nobody else in NBA history has ever done. That's why this is so special. It's not just about the numbers, it's about how he's getting them. The fact that he's averaging 1.2 points per scoring attempt is just absurd. That means every time he goes for a bucket, he's almost guaranteed to get points out of it. That level of efficiency is nearly impossible to maintain, and yet he's doing it on a nightly basis. And he's doing it all while barely getting to the free throw line. That's what makes this so rare. Most guys who have numbers like this are getting to the stripe 10 times a game, getting easy points, and padding their stats with free throws. But Curry, he's taking less than 4 free throws a night. That means almost all of his points are coming from the field, which is something you almost never see from a guy putting up 24 a game. And when you compare these numbers to the rest of the league, it just gets even crazier. He's scoring more than 95% of players, shooting more efficiently than 71% of them, and doing it all without relying on free throws or easy baskets. That combination just doesn't exist anywhere else in the NBA. He's taking 18 shots per game, making more than 56% of them when adjusted for threes, and still putting up numbers that rank among the best in the league. That's what makes this so special. He's not just scoring, he's doing it in a way that nobody else can match. His 4.4 made threes per game are a huge part of this, but it's not just the volume, it's the efficiency. Most guys who take that many threes are shooting way lower percentages, but Curry is maintaining elite efficiency while taking some of the toughest shots in basketball. And then there's the 2-point shooting, which is just as impressive. He's making 3.6 two-pointers per game, and a lot of those are tough floaters, mid-range jumpers, and difficult finishes over taller defenders. That just adds to how crazy these numbers are. His combination of scoring, shooting, and efficiency is something the league has never seen before, and he's doing it at an age when most players are slowing down. His true shooting percentage, his effective field goal percentage, and his overall scoring efficiency all put him in a category of his own. 56.8% effective field goal percentage, 60.8% true shooting percentage, 1.2 points per scoring attempt, 24 points per game. These are all numbers that prove he's not just one of the best scorers in the league, he's one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history. But another thing that's crazy is how good the Warriors are when Curry is on the floor. Steph Curry's impact goes way beyond scoring, and the numbers prove it. His teamwork stats this season are among the best in the entire league, and it shows just how much his presence on the court changes everything for his team. He ranks higher than 96% of players in mixed teamwork metric, meaning that when he's on the floor, the team is consistently performing at a higher level than almost anyone else in the league can say. His offensive rating is sitting at 119, which is just absurd. That means when he's on the floor, his team is averaging 119 points per 100 possessions, which is an elite level of offensive production. His ability to space the floor, attract double teams, and make plays for others creates an offensive environment that few players in NBA history have ever been able to replicate. And then there's his defensive rating, which is 115. While defense has never been his main focus, his presence still makes a difference. When he's on the court, his team's overall defensive production holds up well enough to keep them in games. And that's what makes his overall impact so strong. It's not just about what he does individually, it's about how the team performs when he's out there. His net rating is +4, which means his team outscores opponents by 4 points per 100 possessions when he's playing. That might not sound like a massive number, but in the NBA, a +4 net rating is the difference between being a mediocre team and being a serious contender. It's the kind of impact that takes a team from just being competitive to actually winning games. And when you look at how much his team struggles when he's not out there, it makes these numbers even more impressive. He's played in 60% of games where his team has a positive plus-minus, which just shows how often his presence leads to winning basketball. When he's on the floor, the team is playing at a level that gives them a great chance to come out with a win. And that's exactly what you want from your best player. He's not just putting up numbers, he's helping his team play better as a whole. And the biggest stat that proves that, his on-off numbers. When Curry is on the court, his team is 5.3 points better per 100 possessions than when he's off. That's a massive difference. That means the team isn't just better with him out there, they're significantly better. When he's playing, the offense runs more smoothly, the defense holds up better, and the entire team just functions at a higher level. That kind of impact is what separates great players from truly special ones. There are a lot of guys in the league who can put up big numbers, but not all of them make their team this much better. Curry isn't just a scorer, he's a game changer. The spacing he provides, the gravity he creates, and the energy he brings all make his team play at an entirely different level. And it's not just about what he does with the ball in his hands. The way he moves off the ball forces defenses to adjust in ways that no other player can replicate. Even when he's not scoring, he's pulling defenders away from the action, opening up lanes for teammates, and making everything easier for everyone else. That's why his offensive rating is so high. It's not just about his individual scoring, it's about the way his presence creates opportunities for the entire team. And then there's the defensive side of things. His defensive rating of 115 might not seem like an elite number, but when you factor in how much energy he has to expend on offense, it's actually really impressive. He's holding his own on that end, playing smart team defense and making sure the team isn't falling apart when he's out there. That's why his net rating is so strong. He's making an impact on both ends, and the numbers prove it. And when he's off the floor, the difference is huge. The team isn't just slightly worse without him. They drop off in a major way. That's what the on-off stat is all about. When he's playing, they're 5.3 points better per 100 possession, which is a massive swing. That kind of number is the difference between being a playoff team and being a lottery team. That's the kind of impact very few players in the league can claim to have. And again, it all comes back to his overall teamwork metric. He ranks higher than 96% of players in terms of how much his presence creates a positive margin for his team. That means when he's on the court, the team is consistently playing at a level that gives them a better chance to win. And when he's off, they struggle to replicate that success. That's what makes him so valuable. A lot of players can put up big individual stats, but not all of them make their team better the way Curry does. His plus-minus numbers, his on-off impact, and his net rating all show that his presence on the floor is directly tied to winning basketball. When he's out there, the team is functioning at an elite level. When he's not, things just aren't the same, and the numbers don't lie. A +4 net rating, a 5.3-point swing when he's on versus off, and an offensive rating of 119. Those aren't just good numbers. They're elite. They show that he's not just a great individual player, he's a player who makes his team better in every possible way. And that's what makes him so special. It's not just about what he does for himself, it's about what he does for everyone around him. His teammates benefit from his presence in ways that no other player can replicate. His shooting forces defenses to adjust in ways that open up opportunities for everyone else. His movement off the ball creates space that other players can take advantage of, and his ability to keep the offense flowing ensures that the team is always getting the best possible looks. And on top of all that, his defensive impact is solid enough to make sure his team isn't falling apart on that end either. He's holding up on D, he's playing smart team basketball, and he's making sure the team is staying competitive on both sides of the ball. That's why his net rating is so strong. That's why his plus-minus numbers are so impressive. That's why his on-off impact is so significant. When Curry is on the floor, his team plays better than 96% of players in the league. That's not just a testament to his scoring ability, it's a testament to his overall impact on the game. He's a player who makes his team better every time he steps on the court, and the numbers back it up in every single way. 119 offensive rating, 115 defensive rating, +4 net rating, 60% of games with a positive plus-minus, +5.3 on-off impact. These numbers tell the entire story. Curry isn't just putting up great individual stats. He's making sure his team is always in the best possible position to win. That's what makes him one of the most valuable players in the entire league. But the most underrated part of Curry's game might be his passing. Steph Curry's passing numbers this season have been nothing short of elite, and the advanced stats prove just how much of an impact he has as a playmaker. He ranks higher than 94% of players in ball handling metrics, meaning his ability to control the game with the ball in his hands is among the very best in the league. His handles have always been a problem for defenses, but when you pair that with his passing ability, it makes him one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in basketball. He's averaging 6 assists per game, which is more than 92% of players in the league. That's already impressive, but it's even crazier when you consider how much of the scoring load he carries himself. He's not just a scorer. He's creating shots for teammates at a rate that few players can match. His assist percentage is sitting at 28.26%, meaning that when he's on the floor, nearly 30% of his team's made field goals are coming directly from his passes. That level of playmaking is what makes him so valuable. Not only is he getting his own buckets, but he's making sure his teammates are in the best possible position to score as well. And it's not just about the total number of assists, it's about the quality of those assists. He's assisting on an average of 14.3 points per game, which means his passing alone is responsible for a huge chunk of his team's offense. That's not even counting the shots he creates by drawing defenders and making the right pass to get the ball moving. Even when he's not the one getting credited with the assist, his presence is still generating easy looks for his teammates. And the best part, he's doing all of this while keeping his turnovers at a low rate. He's only turning the ball over 2.9 times per game, which is extremely impressive for someone who handles the ball as much as he does. His turnover percentage is sitting at just 10%, which means that out of every 100 plays he finishes, whether it's a shot attempt or a turnover, only 10 of them result in a turnover. That's an incredible balance of playmaking and ball security, especially for a player who's constantly being double-teamed, trapped, and pressured by defenses that know they have to stop him to have any chance of winning. And when you compare his assist numbers to his scoring attempts, it makes his efficiency as a passer even more impressive. He's taking 19.7 shots per game while still managing to rack up 6 assists and keep his turnovers low. That kind of balance is rare. Most players who take that many shots don't have the vision or awareness to still create for others at such a high level. But Curry does it effortlessly. That's what separates him from so many other star players. He's not just looking to get his own numbers, he's making sure the entire offense is running smoothly. His ability to find open teammates, hit shooters in stride, and make the right reads at the right time is what makes him so dangerous. He's one of the best scorers in NBA history, but he's also one of the best playmakers in the game today. And the numbers prove it. And the impact of his passing goes beyond just the assists. When he's on the floor, the team's ball movement improves dramatically. Defenses are so worried about his scoring that they have no choice but to send extra attention his way. And that opens up opportunities for everyone else. He's constantly drawing double teams, breaking down defenses, and creating easy looks that wouldn't be there without him. That's why his assist percentage is so high. Nearly 30% of his team's made shots when he's on the floor come directly from his passing. That's not normal for a player who's also putting up elite scoring numbers. Usually, players who score as much as Curry aren't this effective as playmakers, but he's mastered the balance of being both a dominant scorer and a high-level passer. And then there's his turnover percentage, which is just as impressive. At only 10%, he's keeping his mistakes to a minimum while still handling a massive offensive workload. That's extremely rare for a player with his role. Most high-usage guards tend to rack up turnovers because of how often they have the ball in their hands. But Curry's ability to control the game while limiting mistakes is what makes him so unique. And when you compare his turnovers to his assists, it makes his efficiency even more impressive. He's dishing out 6 assists per game while only turning the ball over 2.9 times, which means he's getting a lot more positive plays than negative ones. His ability to make the right decisions, keep the ball moving, and create scoring opportunities while avoiding costly mistakes is one of the biggest reasons why his team's offense is so effective when he's on the floor. And it's not just about the numbers. It's about how he gets these assists. He's not just making simple passes to open teammates. He's threading the needle, throwing cross-court dimes, and making reads that very few players can even see. His ability to manipulate defenses with his eyes, use his gravity to create openings, and deliver pinpoint passes is what makes him such a special playmaker. And because of his shooting ability, his passing is even more dangerous. Defenses have no choice but to commit extra bodies to him at all times, which means his teammates are constantly getting wide open looks because of the attention he draws. And when he makes the right pass, it's almost always an easy bucket. That's why his assist numbers are so high, despite being one of the best scorers in the league. He's not just taking shots, he's creating them for others as well. And let's not forget about his overall ball handling ability. He ranks higher than 94% of players in ball handling metrics, meaning he's one of the best in the league at controlling the game with the ball in his hand. His ability to break down defenses, create space, and find teammates is a huge reason why his team's offense flows so well when he's out there. When you put all of these numbers together, it's clear that Curry is not just an elite scorer, he's an elite playmaker too. His 6 assists per game, his 28.26% assist rate, his 14.3 points created through passing, and his low 10% turnover rate all show that he's running the offense at an elite level while still being the most dangerous scorer on the floor. And the fact that he's doing all of this while taking nearly 20 shots per game just makes it even more impressive. Most players who take that many shots aren't capable of also creating at this level, but Curry does it effortlessly. He's finding the perfect balance between scoring and passing, and that's what makes him one of the most valuable players in the league. 6 assists per game, 28.26% assist rate, 14.3 points assisted per game, 2.9 turnovers per game, 10% turnover rate. These numbers prove that he's not just a great scorer, he's one of the best playmakers in the NBA as well. And when you factor in his elite ball handling, his ability to create for others, and the way his presence makes the entire offense better, it's clear that his impact goes far beyond just scoring. And the thing is, Steph Curry is 36 years old and still carrying one of the heaviest offensive workloads in the entire league. His usage rate is sitting at 29.3%, which means that nearly 30% of his team's offensive possessions end with him either taking a shot, getting to the free throw line, assisting on a basket, or turning the ball over. That number puts him ahead of 95% of players in the league, which just proves how much responsibility he still has on offense. Most players at this stage of their career are starting to slow down, but Curry is still running the show every single night. He's taking 18 field goal attempts per game, getting to the free throw line 3.8 times per game, dishing out 6 assists, and only turning the ball over 2.9 times. That's an insane amount of offensive production packed into one player. He's making something happen on nearly every possession he's involved in, and he's doing it at a rate that very few players can match, regardless of age. And the craziest part, he's doing all of this while playing 67.2 possessions per game. That means he's constantly involved, constantly making plays, and constantly carrying his team's offense. He's not taking plays off, he's not slowing down, and he's not showing any signs of losing a step. Even with such a massive workload, he's still one of the most efficient and productive players in the entire league. When you look at the numbers, it's clear that his offensive involvement is among the highest in the NBA. His 29.3% usage rate ranks higher than almost every player in the league, and the fact that he's maintaining that level of involvement while playing at such a high level is unbelievable. Most players who have a usage rate this high tend to see their efficiency drop, but not Curry. He's still putting up elite shooting numbers, elite playmaking numbers, and keeping his turnovers in check, all while handling a massive offensive workload. And when you break down the specific actions he's taking, it makes his efficiency even more impressive. He's taking 18 field goal attempts per game, which means he's constantly looking to score, but he's also making sure his teammates are getting involved with 6 assists per game. That balance is what makes him so dangerous. He's not just a high-volume scorer, he's also one of the best playmakers in the league. And then there's the free throw attempts. He's getting to the line 3.8 times per game, which isn't an insanely high number, but it just goes to show that he's not relying on free throws to boost his scoring numbers. He's getting his points through pure shot making, which is something very few players with this kind of usage rate can say. Most high usage players tend to rack up points at the free throw line, but Curry is getting his buckets the hard way, and he's still doing it more efficiently than almost anyone else in the league. And even with all of this offensive responsibility, he's still keeping his turnovers relatively low. He's only turning the ball over 2.9 times per game, which is a really solid number for a player who's handling the ball this much. His ability to create offense without making a ton of mistakes is what makes him so valuable. A lot of players with this level of usage tend to turn the ball over at a high rate, but Curry is able to keep things under control while still making plays at an elite level. And let's not forget about the overall possessions he's playing. 67.2 possessions per game is a huge number, and it just goes to show how much he's doing for his team every single night. He's involved in nearly every offensive possession when he's on the floor, and he's consistently making the right plays to keep his team's offense running smoothly. That's what makes these numbers so impressive. He's not just putting up stats, he's controlling the entire game. His ability to take on such a massive workload while still being one of the most efficient players in the league is something we've never seen from a player at this stage of their career. Most guys start to slow down when they reach their mid-30s, but Curry is still playing like one of the best offensive players in the game. And when you compare his usage rate to other players in the league, it becomes even more ridiculous. He's handling a bigger offensive workload than 95% of players, and he's still playing at an elite level. Most players who take on this level of responsibility tend to see their shooting percentages drop, their turnovers go up, or their efficiency take a hit. But Curry is still playing as efficiently as ever. His ability to balance scoring, playmaking, and ball security while carrying this kind of offensive workload is what makes him so special. He's taking nearly 20 shots per game, creating nearly 15 points per game through assists, and keeping his turnovers at a really solid number. That combination of volume, efficiency, and control is what separates him from so many other high usage players in the league. And it's not just about the raw numbers, it's about how he's doing it. He's not just dominating the ball and forcing up bad shots. He's making the right decisions, keeping the offense flowing, and ensuring that his team is always in the best position to score. That's why his usage rate is so high. It's not just because he's taking a lot of shots, It's because everything runs through him, and he's constantly making the right plays to generate offense for his team. His 29.3% usage rate, combined with his ability to remain efficient, is something that very few players in NBA history have been able to do. Most guys who take on this kind of offensive responsibility see their numbers take a hit in some way, but Curry is maintaining his elite shooting percentages, keeping his turnovers low, and continuing to make plays for his teammates at a high level. And when you factor in his age, it becomes even more incredible. He's 36 years old, and he's still carrying a workload that very few players can handle. Most guys at this stage of their career are starting to decline, but Curry is still playing like one of the best offensive players in the league. His ability to take on such a massive responsibility while still playing at an elite level is something we've never seen before. 18 field goal attempts per game, 3.8 free throw attempts per game, 6 assists per game, 2.9 turnovers per game, 67.2 possessions played per game, 29.3% usage rate. These numbers prove that he's not just taking on a massive offensive workload, he's thriving under it. And when you compare these numbers to the rest of the league, it's clear that he's still one of the most impactful offensive players in the game. He's handling more offensive responsibility than 95% of players, and he's still playing at an elite level. His ability to balance scoring, playmaking, and efficiency while taking on this kind of workload is what makes him so special. At 36 years old, he's still running the show every single night, and the numbers prove that he's still one of the best offensive players in the league. His usage rate, his scoring, his passing, and his overall impact on the game are all at an elite level, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.